More than 80% of people who try to get lean every year fail completely before reaching their goal body composition. That number is not meant to discourage you. It is meant to make you understand exactly why they fail, so you do not repeat the same mistakes. Today we are covering 3 science-backed steps that consistently separate the people who succeed from the overwhelming majority who give up too early. Before anything else, you need a realistic timeline, because most people dramatically underestimate how much fat they actually have to lose and how long it takes. If you started the process today, getting to visible ab definition, around 12% body fat, would take significantly longer than most fitness content ever honestly admits. Most people who fail do so not because the plan stopped working, but because the timeline was longer than their unrealistic expectation allowed for. The first and most important step is your diet, because nothing else you do will matter without creating a genuine calorie deficit every single day. A calorie deficit means eating fewer calories than your body burns daily, which forces your body to access stored fat for the energy it needs. To find your specific calorie target, use a reliable calculator and then address the single biggest reason most people fail to hit that target consistently.
Your food environment. This is the one factor that determines whether your calorie deficit is sustainable or constantly sabotaged by your immediate surroundings at home. Personally, walking past cookies sitting on the kitchen counter every single day would eventually lead to eating them regardless of stated intentions and discipline. Remove your trigger foods from your home entirely. Place high-calorie snacks in inconvenient, hard-to-reach locations that require deliberate effort to access. This applies to healthy but easily overeaten foods like nuts and granola too. If you can mindlessly grab it and overeat, it should be out of sight. Also, pay attention to where you eat. Research has identified eating meals in front of a television as one of the strongest predictors of being overweight. When you eat, just eat. Put the screen away and be present with your food, because distracted eating consistently leads to consuming more than intended without noticing. Now, for the foods that should actually fill most of your calorie target, protein is the single most powerful food choice for fat loss specifically. Eating enough protein protects your muscle tissue from being broken down for energy during a deficit, which forces your body to burn stored fat instead. The research-supported target is approximately 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight daily. For a 180-pound person, that means around 140 grams of protein.
Choose one 30-gram protein source per meal from options like chicken breast, fish, eggs, Greek yogurt, or cottage cheese, and you will reach your daily target easily. Beyond protein, the 1995 Satiety research that tested 38 different foods for their ability to keep people full is extremely useful for structuring the rest of your diet. Foods like potatoes, oats, whole grains, lean proteins, apples, and oranges ranked highest for fullness. Chips, cereals, white rice, and pastries ranked at the bottom. A practical approach is to make 80% of your diet come from the highly filling, nutritious foods and reserve 20% for treats and more processed options. The 20% flexibility prevents the overly restrictive mindset that causes most people to eventually abandon their diet entirely after a period of perfection. A full day following this approach could look like protein pancakes for breakfast, salmon and potatoes for lunch, chicken with vegetables for dinner, and Greek yogurt with fruit as dessert. That entire day comes to approximately 2,100 calories, with high-protein, high-satiety foods making up the majority of every single meal consumed. Track your calories for at least 1 week, even if you do not plan to do it forever. Many people eating a healthy diet are still consuming too many calories without realizing it. The second step is exercise, and specifically the combination that a recent meta-analysis ranked as the single most effective fat loss protocol available. A calorie deficit combined with consistent weight training outperformed every other exercise approach for fat loss results across the studies examined in that analysis. Lifting weights tells your body to hold on to muscle while burning fat for energy, which is the exact same mechanism that eating enough protein creates. Use your diet to create most of the calorie deficit and lift weights 3 to 5 times per week to ensure the weight you lose comes from fat rather than muscle. Also, track your daily steps and aim for at least 7,000 per day throughout your entire diet. As people get leaner, they subconsciously move less, which silently slows progress. The third step is consistency, and 3 specific approaches dramatically increase the probability of actually finishing what you started over several months. The first is the 60% rule. Research compared people who tracked their calories at least 60% of the time against those who tracked less or inconsistently. The group tracking at least 60% of the time lost dramatically more fat than both other groups, despite not tracking perfectly every single day. Stop aiming for perfection. Just aim to hit your targets on 4 to 5 days out of every week, and only push for more once that feels genuinely sustainable. The second consistency approach is the diet break. Think of a cross-country road trip. Nobody drives the entire distance without stopping to refuel and rest. Trying to diet continuously for months without any planned recovery leads to the same burnout and results in quitting before reaching the destination. Every 8 to 12 weeks of consistent dieting, take 1 to 2 weeks where you increase calories by approximately 500 above your dieting intake. This is not permission to eat whatever you want, but rather planned flexibility that helps you recover both mentally and physically before continuing the next dieting phase. The third and perhaps most important consistency insight involves belly fat and the real reason so many people quit right before their biggest results appear. Your body has a specific order in which it loses fat, and the belly is almost always the last area to show meaningful, visible change. The face, shoulders, arms, chest, and back all typically show significant fat loss before the midsection begins to visibly respond to the calorie deficit. If you quit after 6 weeks because your belly has not changed, you are likely quitting just before the results you have been working toward were about to arrive. Real documented transformations show minimal belly change through the first 3 to 4 months, followed by dramatic visible changes beginning around month 6 to 8. Nothing changed in the plan during those months. The only thing that changed was that enough fat had been lost everywhere else for the belly to finally follow.
Be proud of the fat loss progress visible in your face, arms, and shoulders, while trusting that the belly is next in the sequence your body has already started. The plan works. The timeline is longer than you want it to be. The only real variable is whether you stay consistent long enough to see it through completely.